And then one of them tried to imply like as if I stole uh carriages back to my home or some shit, which I never did. I never have brought in any carriage back to my home or anything. But they're trying to hit me with they're trying to say that they're gonna hit me with larceny, these fucking trolls on here, because they're gonna try to imply that I've done it. Like I haven't done it, never did, but they're gonna just imply that I did. Therefore, if I ever did, let's say, attempt to bring a carriage back to my home, if that ever were the case, then they could call the police and try to get them to hit me with larceny. So that's really what they're doing, is trying to set me up and frame me to be a criminal. Like it's not like I'm actually a criminal, and it's not like I'm in the act of committing any crime, but they're just going to, kind of move the move it in that direction. They're just going to kind of frame me or try to frame me so that, hopefully maybe I'm held liable, for something, of course. That's how stupid they are. That's how fucking dumb they are. Like I even came back from the market today, and a police cruiser drove by in the parking lot, and I thought to myself, I'm like right when I came out, and I thought to myself, I'm like, I bet somebody called them, told the police go over there because supposedly I'm stealing a fucking carriage. They probably said, and I was still like right at the front of the entrance of the fucking building. Like there was no carriage that I was going to bring to my home. No law was going to be broken or anything like that. But of course, there's the police right there, driving by to see, if everything's okay. It's like, are you fucking serious?
Here that I like. The one thing is like you always have to have a car. At all times you pretty much need a car to get around in places like where I live. Whereas where I lived before, there was always public transportation. There was always the bus near me. There was a bus stop like right near my home. So even if I didn't have a car, like it was easily accessible to get where I wanted to get. Even if it was like the supermarket was like a little far in my old house. Like it was about maybe like 20 minutes walk, 25 minutes or something. So like I still had to push the carriage back home when I had like food and shit. And I used to bring back like an entire carriage packed full of food back in the day, when we lived at our old house. And so I used to push it even in the wintertime. I pushed the whole carriage back home because like there was no other way I was going to be able to take the food back home without pushing it. And at first it was embarrassing because there's cars, people look at you and stuff, and people give you the look, and then after, and plus I thought, oh, are the police going to stop me and give me shit for pushing a carriage of food back home or something like that, and plus it looks ghetto as shit. But after a while, like I was just like, you know what, I toughened up and I got some balls, and I was just like, you know what, if someone gives me shit, like fuck them. Like I have my mother who's disabled at home. It's not like there's any other way for me to bring the food back home. And I didn't have a car at that point yet, so the only thing I could do was push the carriage of food back home, a full carriage, 20-minute walk, even through like the rain and the snow and shit. And I'd still do it because like I knew we needed food, and I had to be the one to go out to get it because at that time I had no idea about Instacart. So yeah, at that time I had no idea that there was even Instacart. Like I barely went online, I barely used apps, I barely had any idea about like Uber and how it worked and shit. So I wasn't like, and it's funny because I was working Uber. I was doing Uber Eats at that time, but I had no idea that they had a whole delivery service for like grocery shopping and shit. And I thought it was going to be like this extraordinary amount of money just to get someone to like to tip them and all that stuff. So I literally pushed the entire carriage home, and man, I would do it again still if I didn't have a car because I'd rather go to the supermarket myself to know what I'm buying. It's easy, it's quicker, it's more simple. Like I don't have to wait. Like whenever I'm waiting for something, whether it be delivery service or whether it's like an item on Amazon or Google, even just anything. And like I always have to anticipate it, and I think about it too much. And oh my God, are they gonna come? Like is it gonna show up? When are they gonna show up? I just anticipate shit way too much, and so that's why I like taking care of things myself when it comes to like shopping and shit. Because like I hate having to wait. I hate having to like make it feel like it's like a drug deal. And oh, I have to wait for my fix. And oh, I just want to get those candy bars that I chose to get at the supermarket. I have to wait till, Jorge gets here, with his, Hyundai, pulling up, that's supposed to come at the back at 2:15, and I have to schedule the time right so I'm there at that time, and I have to be there to make sure I open the door for Jorge. And it's a whole frustrating thought process of thinking that someone is going to bring food and get it right and get all the food I want and shit. So I mean, my way of looking at it either way was I would still done that because I still wanted to buy what I wanted to get and know what I was getting. So did I bring back the shopping cart when you were done? So that's the funniest part. I'm glad you brought that up, John Golf. So what happened is back then I used to push so many carriages of food back home and shit that eventually I had about like, I don't even know, 10, 15 carts back in my yard, like in the shed. And so I put them back in the shed in the yard. And I used to hide them because I didn't want them to be seen by the public. It wasn't like I was like trying to cover it up or anything like that, but I just knew I was like, man, I got to find a way to bring them back at some point, and I can't fit them in my car. So, how am I going to go about this? I need someone who has a truck at some point. Maybe I can do it that way, or what? Like, how am I going to get this done? Because I had no idea how the fuck I was even going to do that, like, and bring back all these carriages. So by the time we got like these new individuals bought the home and shit, like they were cleaning up all the shit in the yard and all this stuff, and they were even throwing shit out they shouldn't have. Like they even cleared out the first floor before like we got a notice to quit or whatever, or evict or whatever. Like before we even got a notice, and they start clearing all this shit out. But the benefit to it was like things like the carriages and all that. Like now they were responsible. So then they had to be the ones to take all the carriages back to the supermarket because we weren't the owners anymore, and it was on their property, and they wanted to clear the property. So that's what happened. Is basically they got sent back. Just we weren't the ones to send them back. And I would have sent them back, if I had a way of bringing them back. No, you can. If they're like, see, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to, but if you have no other means of being able to bring food back and you're at the market, no, yeah, you have every right to step off that lot with the carriage. And that's why they took the safety lock things from the carriages off back in the 90s, in the late 90s, early 2000s. They put like those safety lock things to where if you took the carts off the lot, it would lock so that you couldn't be able to take the carriage further. Now they took those off now because even though it was useful to keep a lot of carriages that would go missing and stuff like that, it still helps for people who really did need them. Some people do need to carry, the carriage back and stuff. And there's fines. I mean, they'll fine you if they think you're stealing it or something, or trying to keep it as your own property. But if they know that you're just trying to push some food home to your mother who might be disabled or an old woman or something like that, let's just say you're out there, you choose to walk. You can choose to do what. I mean, walking is an option. It's not like it's against the law to walk or to make it from one destination to another without a vehicle. I mean, it is, well within anyone's right to do so. And if even someone chooses to walk to the store and push the carriage to get exercise and bring it back home, even if they had a car, they have the right to do so. So, and so I think that that's why it's good that they took the locks off those carriages, because the carriage locks, man, like they do, they can only stop people from stealing products so much, and it wasn't like it was really stopping people from getting carriages or anything. It was just like, just keeping other people from being able to take advantage of using the carriage to bring said food home. So they expect me to push a carriage full of food across that fucking street that you saw Andrew stalking me with, that footage of him stalking me and me crossing that long road with all those cars.
and those lights and shit, like, that dangerous fucking street. They expect me to walk all the way from the market and push that fucking carriage across that fucking road every time I want to bring food now back home.
It was like the supermarket was like a little far in my old house. It was about maybe like 20 minutes walk, 25 minutes or something. So